Hello everybody, I'm Bonnie Barker with BonnieBayCrochet.com, and I want to welcome you to Friday Fun Live, and we've got some fun things to do today. Let me go ahead and get my video uploaded here, make sure we are really live. I think we are. Um, da, 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 da. All right, let me go ahead and say hey to some of you. Hi, Hannah. Thank you for being our admin and super bouncer today. My daughter Hannah in Maryland is helping us. So she doesn't really know how to answer a lot of the crochet questions. So I'm going to try to really pay close attention to the chat today, so that I can be here to help. Hey Esther, thank you so much. Let me go ahead and adjust this down just a little bit. There we go. Oh, we have Jane Kenny, see Ann Butler. Thank you for joining us. And is it Tara? And is it Leanne? And Sandy and Kathleen, Jan, Sherry, Creatively Tracy, Joni from Kansas. Wow, we got a lot of people here. Welcome, welcome. I hope you all are doing well. We have Barbara and Swati. Hey Swati, thank you for joining us from LA, probably sunshiny LA. She says she has to work this weekend. Oh well, I'm so sorry. And Kim, and let's see, Sue and Sadie, Katie. Goodness, we have a lot of people here. Cindy from Flower Mound, Texas. She says she's a first timer. Well, welcome, Cindy. Thank you for joining us. Let's see, we have Catherine from Rochdale, if I'm saying that right, England. I'm sorry if I'm not saying that right. And Barbara. Oh, yes, Barbara, we need to talk. She's saying getting ready for Hurricane Isaias. Come on, guys, at the National Hurricane Center. Couldn't you come up with a name that I could pronounce? I actually had to look up the name of this hurricane, and we're right near Myrtle Beach, and it's headed right for us. We'll know probably in the next day or two whether we actually get the eye or whatever, but we are definitely going to be getting rain from this hurricane. So it doesn't look like it's a real strong one right now, but you never know what's going to happen when it gets into the warm water, down there in the tropics. But, something else to trust God for. And we're cheerfully going into this. Mrs. Barker, my mother-in-law, who I'm staying with right now, has been through many of these before. I've been through a few myself, being from Florida. But, we'll see. I had to look up the name. I just want you all to know, because it's a very unusual name I've never heard, and found out that it's actually a Spanish origin. And the name of the word, if you look at that name, if you drop the S and put an H on the end, it's spelled just like Isaiah. So I'm thinking, why couldn't we just call it Isaiah? But anyway, if you drop the H and put the S, you end up with Isaias. So, and the meaning of the name, according to Google, is God is my salvation. So I guess that's pretty cool. I just have to learn to say it right. So forgive me, you all from Spain and other parts of Latin America, if I am not saying that right. But it is, I guess, a beautiful name once you get used to it. Let's see, who else do we have here? Oh, thank you. Creatively Tracy says she likes my t-shirt. Thank you. I had a lot of fun with this one. This is probably my favorite one so far. Oh, we have Joyce from Singapore. Welcome, Joyce. And Charlotte Bruce. And Susan from South Africa. Wow, thank you for joining us, Susan. I can't wait to go to your country, my friend. And we have N. Constable from Canada. Let's see, is it Marga from the Netherlands? Wow, and Tamblin. And let's see. Anyway, Barbara, I hope you're doing all right. I need to go get gas in the car, actually, this afternoon when I'm done with the live and done with getting lunch. So we have a full tank of gas going into this in case we get the hurricane. Of course, this is early in the season, and the bigger hurricanes usually come, in August and after. So we'll see, just see how this one goes. That's the biggest news, I guess, from here. Yeah, Esther says to be careful. Yeah, thank you. And Johnny's in the chat. Hey, Johnny. I guess you guys are probably getting ready for this storm too, not knowing, what direction it's going to go. You really never know. You can try to predict it with all these modelings, but all the modelings that I've seen are pointed right towards Myrtle Beach here. So we'll see what happens. Just one more thing to add to the docket, right, in this pandemic. But anyway, that just seems mild compared to what we've been through. So we have Lady Rose from Northern California. And let's see, Nancy, she says, enjoy your videos from Woodfin, North Carolina. Thank you, Nancy. That's so kind of you to say that. I need to find out where Woodfin is. I don't recall seeing that along the 95 corridor. That's pretty much where we go through North Carolina. It's always along the East Coast there, but I need to look that town up and find out where you are. We have, let's see, Heather from England. Thank you for joining us. Oh, I so love being in England in the fall. And thank you, Jan. She says she's going to pray for our safety. Thank you. God is good. I mean, yeah, we'll just see what happens here. Mary Ford says, hello from Morehead City. And she's got all these tornado and little symbols in there. Yeah. How did you do that? That's cool. And we have, is it Margita from Sweden? Thank you for joining us from so far away. My goodness. And Charlene Lucas says, good morning, Bonnie. Hope you're having a great day. I'm praying for you all. Thank you, Charlene. It's been a good week here. And Johnny says, I said the same thing about the name, whether people keep changing the pronunciation. John, it is hilarious. It is really kind of funny. My mother-in-law and I were talking about this and kind of laughing because here we are in the Carolinas, and just to hear them try to say this name. So people from Spanish background, I apologize, but if you're living in the area where we are, I mean, you're going to get about 50 different variations on how to say this name. It's really kind of funny. So that's why it's been hard for me to learn how to say this. I had to actually look it up online and find out how to do this, because every time I hear someone say the name of this hurricane, it sounds different to me. And I'm a better visual person than auditory anyway. If I just have to listen to something to get it, I will never get it. Probably why I barely know one language. But anyway, Ginger Kelly says, hi, Bonnie. I've been out of commission, oh dear, with bladder cancer surgeries and treatments. Hopefully I can join you again. Oh, I am so sorry to hear that, Ginger. I will write you back down on that list and pray for you, my friend. That's got to be difficult. I've had surgery in the past, not bladder cancer, but I won't go into a lot of details, but it did involve bladder and it did involve surgery and stuff. And I know that can be really, really, really painful. So I really hope and pray for complete healing for you, Ginger. Barbara says, we are going to a hotel today, stripping the canvas off the boat right now and packing up our stuff. Wow. So do you live on a boat, Barbara? That would be interesting. Esther says Texas is having a hurricane too called Hannah. Yeah, my daughter has a hurricane named after her too. Although Hannah was quick to point out they misspelled her name. So it's really not after her, I guess. I don't know. Go figure. We have, is it Judy Ray from Judy from Mississippi. Thank you for joining us, Judy. And Anika from India. Wow, guys, you're giving me a wonderful geography lesson here. That is so cool to have people connected like this. And I remember the day that the first fax machine came into the office back in 1985, I think it was, where I was working in Columbia, South Carolina. And it was like this modern miracle to behold, to be able to send, a document over a fax machine. We were all standing around watching this thing going, woo. And now here we are interacting live with people on a little tiny thing that fits in my pocket called the cell phone, and with people from all around the world. That is just kind of blows my mind even now. And we have the Happy Pug Queen. That's so cool. Hi everyone, I'm crocheting the Erin Heart's Throw from my Nan's 85th birthday. How kind of you to do that. That is so sweet. I know that's not for the faint of heart, for those of you who've done that project, but I'm so happy to hear that. Hope it's going well for you, Pug Queen. And we have Lynn Guider saying, praise the Lord for you today, Sister Brian. Thank you so much, Lynn. You're so encouraging. I love getting your messages throughout the week. And we have Brat's mom. She says, hi, everyone, from a cooler in less humid Southwest Chicago suburbs. Hope everyone is having a great Friday. I do too. The sun is shining here. It was supposed to be raining by this afternoon, but I don't see a cloud anywhere. So I think all the rain went north to my husband and son, who was supposed to go up on an airplane trip today, but in a small aircraft, and that's not going to work out because they're getting pretty bad. I think it's torrential rain or something going on there today. Lots of clouds, lots of rain up there. We've got all the sun here, so this is looking really good outside. Yeah, Johnny says hunkering down to be prepared just in case. Absolutely. Get your batteries, get your food, cereal, whatever you guys need to eat for a week or two. I mean, you know the drill. We've been living it for 5 months, everybody. Just make sure we have batteries for those flashlights, and yeah, I think we're good. Hey, Wanda, glad you could join us. I'm finally catching up here on the messages, and she says, I guess I need to see what the weather is going to be here. First, yeah, she's driving that truck all over the place. Yeah, you need to find out. I'm sure, Wanda. Just, wow, be careful out there, okay? And we have Kathy from Ingersoll, Ontario. Wow, an Oklahoma farm gal. She says, so glad to have a Friday off to see you. Blessing to you and your family, Elizabeth. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. That means a lot. I know, I feel your prayers. I really do. I think that's the only reason this has not been as much of a trial as it could be. I just feel the grace of the Lord all the time, just carrying me through. It's really great. Oh, Jan, I'm going backwards here. Tammy says, good afternoon. Please stay safe. Prayers to you and your family. Just purchased your Cable Crochet Made Easy book. With complete video tutorials. Can't wait to hold it. Thank you for your purchase, Tammy. I so appreciate your support, and you know, things like that is what keeps me here. Not having to go back to substitute teaching. Yay. I'm so glad I could retire from that, but miss the kids sometimes, but I definitely love playing with this yarn and interacting with everybody. And Jan says, Jan says, Brat's mom, I'm great. Just celebrated my birthday on Wednesday. Sister took me to lunch yesterday and gave me $100. Hey, that's a good day, right? Yarn shopping in my future. Good for you, Jan. Happy birthday. And Creative Tracy says, prayers for everyone in its path. Yes, thank you, Tracy. Yeah, that's always a bonus. And Marilyn says good morning and be safe. Thank you, Marilyn. And we have Janet Broucher, if I'm saying that right. And let's see, let me scroll down here. Just want to catch up a little bit more. I don't have a whole lot of new things to talk about today that you don't already know, but I am going to show you in just a second. Barbara says she lives on their sailboat in Titusville, Florida. Ooh, you're right there where they launch all the rockets. They just had a launch yesterday, I think, too. My husband keeps up with all that. He's a rocket NASA geek, being a physicist and all. So that must be cool to be able to see a lot of those launches. I would love that. I'm going to go off on a tangent here. That reminds me of one of my best ever field trips, things to do with my family when my kids were little. And many of you know we homeschooled our 5 children. And so a lot of our classroom time was really spent out and about. And one time was going down south to visit my mom and dad when they still lived in Hialeah, Florida. And we actually camped out on our way down at a campground, and then went to see a shuttle launch. And it was the shuttle Endeavor. And that was amazing. Oh, I still remember that. I'm just so glad that my children and I got to experience that. And we were right there outside of Titusville, you know, with all the traffic along the road there. And just being able to see that live was just incredible for me. And especially now that they don't even launch the shuttle anymore. But that was, just thinking of Titusville just reminded me of that story. Let's see. And when my husband was actually a child, his mom and dad drove him and his brother down to the Cape, to Cape Canaveral, and they got to see a Saturn V rocket in the in that big building. I forget the name of it. Anyway, my brain is not functioning properly, but it's like one of the biggest buildings, and where they assemble the rockets, and they got to see the Apollo. I think it was the Apollo 11. It was not anywhere near launch ready, but they had it constructed, and so he got to see that, and that's pretty amazing to me. That's just kind of really cool stuff. Okay, sorry guys, I'm gonna get back to crochet. But like you and me, I mean, crochet is great, but that's just one thing that makes up who we are, right? So I mean, I know you all are so smart and have a lot of other wonderful things that you like to do. All right, let's see. Yeah, Brat's mom says, happy belated birthday to Jan. Says, wish I could join you for yarn shopping. Can't have too much yarn shopping, just need more yarn space. Amen. Speaking of space, yes, definitely need more yarn space, or just creative ways to store it. Although lately I've been burning through a lot of it with my hook, so that's one of the joys of having all this extra time on our hands. So let's see who we got here. We have Jan, okay, from Manchester, UK, and a lot of things just came in. Yeah, Barbara says, yeah, each lunch is so amazing. It really is. Let's see, I missed a comment somewhere. I got a lot of things in. Sorry, guys. You know me, I'm slow. We have Savvy Rock Chick. She says, glad to be here when you're live, if a little late. Well, welcome. I like your name, Savvy Rock Chick. That's a pretty cool name. And we have Lori from Wisconsin, Virginia from Vernal, Utah, and Esther, let's see. Oh. All right, I'm going to skip some of you guys are just such social butterflies here, which is a great thing with each other. I'm going to skip some of that. We have Left is Right Crochet with Sandy. Thank you for joining us. And let's see, Stevie from Vancouver, British Columbia, on the final edge round of the braided swirl scarf. Took me a long time, but enjoyed learning how to do the cable. Well, great, Stevie. That's a little bit of a tricky one too. Because you're slip stitching and starting new cables all the time. Well, I hope you're enjoying that one. That was a lot of fun for me to work on. We have Christy Martina. She says, hi, Ann. I'm a new crocheter. Excited to learn from you. Wow. Thank you for being in the chat, Christy. And Ann Butler. Let's see, Naomi. You guys are encouraging each other. How cool. And Naomi says she's praying for safety down here with the weather. Thank you so much. And Barbara says, watching the launches right from the deck of our boat. Okay, Barbara, I'm going to try not to covet that. That is so cool. Oh, that is so amazing. I'm going to have to look you up if we ever get down to Florida. I would love to watch a launch from a boat. And Jan says, sailboat wouldn't work for me. No room for yarn. Yeah, that's a good question. Where do you put your yarn, Barbara? Do you have like a dinghy that follows behind with all the boxes? That would be good to know. Let's see. And Lori Larson says, Bonnie, I remember a couple weeks ago you got a new yarn winder. Which one did you get? Okay, you must be talking to another Bonnie, maybe. But if you're looking for a good yarn winder, Lori, I've had one for a long time, for about 4 or 5 years now. I love it. It's a Stanwick, and I think I got it from Amazon. It's a large ball winder, not the little ones. It's the large ball winder, and there's nothing I can't do with that thing as far as yarn goes. So I'm real happy with that. It's about double the price of those little ones though. So it's kind of like an investment over time, but I've known a lot of people in the industry who've had the little ball winders and they don't last that long. Well, I don't want to say that about all of them categorically, but I know some people have kind of pointed me towards the large one because they tend to last longer, because some of them are all plastic and you just have to be careful with those. Barbara says, you'd be surprised how creative you can be with storing yarn. Amen. I've done the same thing. And if you can get one of those things to kind of suck the air out of the bag, you know, you probably could get a lot more in there. Um, and we have Jean. Thank you for joining us, Jean. Um, and let's see, I'm getting behind again. Oh, we have Esther from County Kerry in Ireland. Oh my goodness. She says, we have a lot of rain the last few days. I love your blogs and I love to crochet. Thank you for joining us, Esther. I so love, 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 love your country. Um, wow, I can't wait to go back again. I'm going to have to wait because I don't have any plans, you know, of course, to travel anywhere right now. But I would so love to revisit Ireland and just like take a month. You know, if they could just, you know, let me on that airplane and maybe go to the Aran Isles and just rent a house there for like a month and just, you know, isolate there, I would be so happy. Or even just anywhere on the main island. That would be so amazing just to be able to do that. The only problem is I would need a driver because I'm not real comfortable driving on the left side of the road. My husband did all the driving. Maybe we can go together. um, wow, it was really scary. And anyway, it was beautiful, beautiful, wonderful. But my husband um, gave me a lot of good ab exercises. We were driving on those narrow roads and we're like this far from the stone wall, which was like right beside my face in the car. Ah, happy times. And yeah, that was fun. Yeah, and Discovering Hope says Stanwood, excuse me, Stanwood ball winders are the best. Well, it's the only one I've ever had, and I don't have any reason to go get another one. I don't have experience with other ones, but I know that one has been great for me. Um, let me see here. We have Jen Ida. She says she's eating her lunch and watching from Ottawa, Canada. Wow, that is cool. I've been there back in 1989 I can tell you when. It was July 16th, 1989 because it was my first anniversary. And we actually were living in Andover, which is north of Boston in Massachusetts, and we drove to Canada. Neither of us had ever been, and we drove to Ottawa. That was before, of course, way before 9/11, so you didn't need a passport or anything. And we drove, and I thought it was the coolest thing. We drove into Montreal first and got to listen to all the French-speaking Canadian people with the radio broadcast. They'd be playing American music, but they would all be speaking French in between. It was really cool. So, and then we drove over to Ottawa and spent the night there. That was really a lot of fun. Beautiful, beautiful place. Remember seeing the locks there around where the government building was, and got to see the changing of the guard, and even got to meet a mounted, you know, a Mountie, and with the horse and everything. It was so much fun. Um, anyway, I go off on tangents, guy. Um, yeah, Barbara says that sounds awesome to rent a house for a month and just enjoy Ireland at our leisure. Barbara, I looked online several years ago, and the rent to rent one of these houses is less than what it would cost for me to pay my mortgage or to rent a place, you know, just for regular living in the States. I'm not kidding. I remember seeing a house or two, several actually, where you could rent on the Aran Isles, which is a pretty isolated, desolate place. I mean, it would not be the place to go if you're there to tour everything, but if you just wanted to go there to rest, to write a book, or just to chill and just enjoy the weather there. And the only way there and back is either by small aircraft or by boat. And a lot of these islands don't even have cars, or there's not many people who really would need a car for the islands. And I think I've seen houses for like $600-700. I want to say, I don't know if that was per week or per month, but it seemed very reasonable to me. And I thought, oh, I would just love to rent a house there for about a month and just camp out. But you know, maybe someday, maybe we can all go there together. That would be fun. Um, let's see, we have okay. And Jan says, oh, the yarn in Ireland. I'm with you. Driving is scary looking in UK. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't drive in British territories or Ireland. Yeah. my husband's brave and he's good at doing all kinds of things. Of course, he started out driving a tractor on a farm when he was about 8, but I don't trust myself. And he was even driving a standard stick shift car, so he was actually having to shift the car with his left hand into the gears on top of driving on the wrong side of the road. So he's pretty much a genius. He kept us from getting killed, so that was great. um, let's see, we have Tamara Roberts from Maine. Hey, Tamara. And Maine is a beautiful place. And Esther, is it Trust Love? She said, you're always welcome to visit, and I can drive you around and show you all the great spots and take you on the Ring of Kerry. I have never been there, Esther. Oh, I have to go. And let's see. See, Brat's mom says, that would be so cool, Bonnie. All of your crochet fans, and we can rent an entire island. Wouldn't that be cool? That would be really neat. We'll see how things go. I mean, a conference would be a good place to start, guys, but, you know, we need to just keep our ears out and see what we can do. I would love to just have let's just have a retreat, or, you know, one thing I've thought about, and this is just totally me dreaming right now, okay? There's nothing in the works for this, I promise you, but I always thought that if we ever relocated to a lower cost area, I would love, love, love to like buy a big house. And there's actually one for sale in Conway, except it needs a ton of work. It would probably need a whole crew just to take care of the yard, but it has these oak trees, was it elm or oak trees? I think these live oak trees in the front yard, a few of them that have been there for probably 300 or 400 years. I'm not kidding. And they are humongous and gorgeous. It's just that this house would probably take, I don't know, thousands of dollars just to maintain it on a monthly basis. But I thought that would be the house to buy and open a crochet bed and breakfast, you know, just kind of open all year long. You can just come and go when you can, when you're in the area. And we could have retreats there, and it has a pool in the backyard when the sun gets too hot in the Carolinas. I just thought, oh, that would be so great. I talked to my husband about it and said, look at this house. It's for sale. It's like a historical house and everything. And my boys set me straight, and I'm like, Mom, do you know how much it would cost just to maintain that house? And I'm like, I don't want to know. But anyway, one can dream, can't we? A friend of mine, Stephanie Sheldon with Crochet O'Clock, I mean, she always posts these big southern houses on there. And I thought, yeah, that one. That's what we need for our crochet getaway. And just to have a revolving door for all crochet friends worldwide to come. Wouldn't that be fun? And not just limit it to 1 week of the year or just a few days like over a conference, but just to have it whenever you're in the area. That would be so much fun. So let's just think about it. You know, that's just kind of on the back burner of my head. And if I see anything like that, we're going to go for it. But of course, we would need to have significant investors to do something like that. But I'm just dreaming and talking nonsense, guys. So ignore me. I'm sorry, but just dreaming here. You know, something to do this side of heaven. That would be amazing. It's just that it would take so much work, but just something to think about. Okay, I've missed a lot of comments here, and I'm getting way ahead of myself. Well, you know what, let's go ahead and talk just for a minute. Just wanted to remind you that, yeah, I do crochet things here, not just jabber. But I just want to remind you that the blanket, the wheat cabled heirloom blanket is still up and is going strong on the channel. If you guys are interested, this is, you know, this is an investment. You know, the yarn for this project is an investment. It's not cheap, but I promise you, if you try some of this yarn, it's called Nurturing Fibers. Okay. Fusion. It's the cotton fusion. It's 50% cotton, 50% bamboo. And thanks to Stephanie, if you're watching, I am totally hooked on this, no pun intended. And I'm actually working on another baby blanket that's blue using the same yarn that's going to come out probably in the fall sometimes. But this is a lovely, lovely yarn. And it just, I wish I could tell you how nice it feels, but you can tell just the, the fluidness of it, that it's so different than, an acrylic blanket. Nothing wrong with acrylic blankets, but it's just, this is kind of something very special. This is, probably not the kind of stuff you do for donations, but maybe for that special grandbaby or, special friend in your life. And just a little note, I put the video up with all the extra information you need, just to let you know the Orlaith Robe Sweater. The first video comes out on Monday. I'm so excited about this project, and you know the drill, guys. I've talked to you about this before, but just due to copyrights and contracts and all that stuff, the pattern is only available in the Celtic Cable Crochet book right now. And these are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, I think Walmart.com. I also have some in my Etsy store, and I've kind of priced them so that postage doesn't kill you on buying these. I actually priced them a little bit lower, so that, it kind of competes with Amazon a little bit. But if you're looking for a signed copy, I'll be glad to ship one of these out. I have about 10 left here, and I have 20 more on order, if anybody's interested in that. And the video that's on my channel will explain this in more detail, but there were issues with the pattern, and the errata listing is on my, the link is in the video description below, for real this time. And you can just download that. If you have trouble, some people have said they've had trouble getting the schematics. The schematics are these with the measurements and so forth. If you have trouble seeing that for whatever reason, you have to scroll down on the blog post to get to those. But if you're having trouble printing those out, just email me and I can send them to you in a PDF format. So just wanted to let you all know that. But let me see if there's any other questions regarding that. Guys, I am going to look at all your comments, I promise. But it's just so hard for me to keep up with everything here. I just love reading through those. If you have any questions that I don't answer during the live, please repost them afterwards in the comments section. Oh, just a reminder too, if you could hit the thumbs up on this if you're liking what you're seeing. And if you can hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I always forget to say these things. I am such a creative-y person and not an administrative-y person. But the other thing is, if you want to hit that notification bell, that way you'll be notified of the new videos that I post. And you'll know when these, I got a hair in my eye. You'll know when these videos go live. All right. Let's see. I'm just making sure there are any questions I haven't missed that I need to address regarding the sweater. Yeah, Savvy Rock Chick says, I love the sound of a crochet get together. I tell you what, that's why I'm so hooked on the CGOA conferences, because just getting together with other crafters is, and specifically crocheters. I mean, it's one thing to get together with people like knitters and everybody, which knitters are fine. I love you all. But when you get together with a bunch of people who are just crazy about crochet, something magical happens, and we're just not normal, guys, in a good way. And these conferences have been great just because of the people who attend. Again, no organization is perfect in this life, but just for me, it's worth the time and money just to get there and visit with these wonderful, wonderful people that I only get to see there. And I've made lifelong friends at these conferences, but it'd be so cool to have something, more local, more often. Let's see. Okay, well, I am just going to scroll down here. Let's see. I did see a question there. We have Proud Grammy Crochets from Washington State. I just had to see what that said there. And Jan says, you could charge for the house upkeep for our retreats. Yeah. And there's a lot of things you could do, it just takes a vision and some money there. lots of money in this case. Like the house that I was looking at, and this is in Conway. It was, I believe, listed for just under $800,000, but it was sitting on, I think, about 2 or 3 acres of property, and had these ancient trees in their yard. I mean, it almost is like visiting Lord of the Rings, Hobbiton or something, with these trees. And these trees, if you've ever been to downtown Conway, South Carolina, it has the Spanish moss hanging in the trees. I mean, it's just unreal. It's so beautiful. It's just this particular house, while fantastically gorgeous, it's old and it needs a lot of love, a lot of attention, probably another $200,000 worth of work, no joke, to get the house back in shape again. So, you're talking $1 million. And I don't know how much you all know about the income of fiber artists, but it ain't even close. I will say that this year I am real excited that I actually broke the poverty line for my area, which is really, really exciting for me. So on paper, yeah, I'm actually right about at, of course, this is not the income that I live on, this, thankfully, but just to say that it would take a long time, probably about 4 or 5 lifetimes before I would have enough money to buy that house, but by myself. But you know what? Keep telling people about the YouTube channel, and you never know what's going to happen. But that would be a really cool thing to be able to do, just to be able to have something like that. I keep getting a hair from somewhere, and it's really bothering me. I'm so sorry, guys. Anika says, let's see. I mostly miss your Friday Fun Live because of this big time difference. It's midnight here. Oh, in India when you come live. But thanks to YouTube, I can watch it later. Anika, thank you for staying up. My goodness, hon, that is so late. I've been staying up late till midnight at times, but that's just because I miss my husband so much. But wow, thank you for doing this, just to join our time together. That is so sweet. And Savvy Rock Chick says, I absolutely love the drape of that yarn, but they don't ship to UK. Oh, bummer. But you know what, Savvy Rock Chick, check out your local yarn store. I don't know where you are in the UK, but have you ever been to the London Loop? I went there last fall, and they have an amazing assortment of yarns, and they might even have some, because all this is it's a bamboo cotton combo. But if you can find something that's just a really high quality cotton, or even some DK weight bamboo yarn, that's going to give you a similar drape. So check that out. If you're anywhere, especially if you're anywhere near London, it's right off the tube. I mean, it's very easy to walk there from taking the tube there. And Deborah, thank you, Deborah, for your support. Deborah Cowan says that she just received the Celtic Cable pattern book and is excited to start the sweater. Yay! I really hope this sweater goes well for you all. It's always a big risk for me because of all the different sizings and the issues. And, again, we are swimming in the deep end of the pool together, but hopefully there'll be enough life rafts in there with the videos, and just feel free to ask me any questions, via email or Facebook, or however you can get me. All right, Jan, your question here, what would be a good substitute yarn? I actually have an unboxing to show you. Let's go ahead and do this now. So I don't really have a whole lot to talk about. I just wanted to interact with you all today and just see how you're doing and tell you about that hurricane coming. Well, anyway, I probably shouldn't show you my email address, but I got a box here from Berroco Yarn. Now this is, I know what's in here, but I wanted to share with you. This is something coming of the future, but I did actually add, let me go ahead and do this so I don't cut myself. I actually added a Berroco yarn to the listing below in the video description. The yarn that I recommend for the sweater, the yarn that I used is Cascade Yarns 220. It's the Aran weight. And I use superwash. If you don't want superwash, you can just get their regular you know, yarn. They're regular 100% wool. Is really, really nice wool. I think the first one I don't think the first one I made was out of superwash. I think it was the regular wool. And this is the superwash. It really feels amazing. It doesn't feel itchy or scratchy like wool at all. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay. All right. This is different yarn than what this sweater is made of. This is actually, um, this is Berroco's. Okay, I'll open it up and show you. This is for a future project that is top secret right now. Actually, it's so top secret, it's still in my head. It hasn't been designed yet. But let me show you what this is. Some of you may have used this before. This is vintage, see, Berroco Vintage DK. Now they make a vintage, just a regular vintage Aran weight or worsted weight. And I had kind of forgotten about suggesting this yarn. This would be kind of like in between acrylic and the wool. So price wise, the highest in the wool pricing for this sweater would be Cascade. The ones that I recommend is the highest price that I'm recommending. It's also probably the highest quality. And then the lowest price would be the acrylic, which I'm recommending the paint box yarns, paint box, the worsted weight yarn. It's called Simply Aran. Yeah, that's it. Paint box Simply Aran. And then this is kind of a mid-range. This is kind of in between. And let me tell you what this is made of. I'm going to read it straight off the label so I get it right. It's 52% acrylic, 40% wool, and 8% nylon. It's machine washable and lay flat to dry. So, and this feels really, really nice. This, you know, when people think of wool, they think of scratchy, itchy, but this does not feel like that at all. But it's a nice blend of wool and acrylic. And the advantage of this over 100% acrylic for me personally is acrylic tends to heat me up. Like even in the wintertime, even if it's cold out and I put on an acrylic sweater, I start sweating. It's just hot. And this is kind of a halfway point. This is kind of almost 50-50. Has what, 40? Okay, so 40% wool. Wool is a breathable fabric. So it is more it's going to be more breathable than 100% acrylic sweater. Of course, the wool for me is preferred personally because I can put the wool sweater on. It keeps me warm without overheating me, if that makes any sense. It's just better temperature control for me. But if you're looking for something in between the acrylic and the wool, this would be a good standard. And this is an industry standard. Berroco Vintage yarns have been around forever. And the advantage to that is it's not going to be here today and gone tomorrow. Like a lot of yarns, if they don't sell well, they're not going to be on the market long. And I actually designed with some of those in my first book, which was kind of sad because by the time the book came out, then the yarn's not available. So you're already having to substitute. I promise you, this Berroco Vintage is going to be around probably until the cows come home. I mean, it's whatever that means, but it's going to be around for a long, long time. And they have a huge color selection for this particular yarn. So I got a lot of yarn, a lot of this. Let's see if okay, so that's pretty much all that's in the box. I just got a whole bunch of this for a project coming to my channel probably this winter. Okay, I've got a lot of work to do with that, but I'm excited about working with that. And let's see if I got anything else to tell you all. Let me see if we have Brad's mom says, going back to my dream here. Okay, Esther says Ireland is on her list to visit. It's a good thing to put on your list, Esther. Put it at the top and make sure you see the cliffs of Moher when you go there. Let's see. Brad's mom says, I would be glad to have a nice place to go on vacation. This side of heaven indeed. Yes. Wow. All right, so let's see, who do we have? Okay, I hope that answers your question, Jan, about what would be a good substitute. You might have been talking about the blanket, so I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but I did need to get, just wanted to open that box and show you all. Um, so, oh, and Johnny says, my favorite yarn is superwash merino wool. Great, 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 great. I just need to wash my sweater very soon so I can wear it though. Um, Lynn Morris says, Savvy Rock Check, most mom and pop yarn stores will order the wool you want if you provide them with the information. That is true. Thank you, Lynn, for pointing that out. Because if you go to the yarn store and ask them for 15 scans, they're not going to have 15 scans of any one color, I promise you. But you're right. That's a great way to support your local yarn stores, is to order it from them. If you were like me when I was in Florida growing up, there was no such thing as a yarn store near where I lived. There was also no such thing as the internet, so you were kind of stuck with whatever they had at the big box stores, which in my case was actually a GC Murphy company. If you all ever remember way back when they had stores named GC Murphy, but I used to have a fountain. I remember a fountain area where you could get a Coke and a burger, and it was a really cool place to go. But anyway, and all they had was acrylic or the thread, a cotton yarn. That's the only thing that existed. But if you don't have a yarn store to support in your area, which I highly, highly recommend you do that, you can check online. Lovecrafts has a lot of good sales, and they carry Berroco, they carry Cascade yarns, they carry, the paint box yarns, they carry, a lot. There's another place I haven't ordered from as much called Webs, WEBS, is another online outlet. Another one that I really like is Knit Picks. They have a lot of, but they're mostly the wool, the higher end kind of yarns. They do have some acrylics though. I'm going to be checking out some of their acrylic yarn soon. So, and as soon as I work with that for a while and see how it goes, I will let you know, because I don't want to recommend junk to you guys. There's plenty of junk out there, and I want to point you to the good stuff, but I'm also wanting to point you to stuff that is economically based and practical, because we're all on budgets, and I totally respect that. So, anywho, let me see if there's anybody else here. Lynn has a question. Where do you purchase the vintage yarn? Hopefully, I answered that Lynn. They actually, if you're in the Maryland area, there's a wonderful store. My friend Lana has a store. It's called So Original. It's actually in Brookville off of 108. It's kind of, is it east of Olney? But anyway, it's not too far from Olney. She has this yarn. That's where I found out a lot of what I know about yarns, was from Svetlana Ford. So, yeah, and again, try the online outlets if you don't have a local yarn store in your area that you should probably be supporting if you can. Okay, what is the brand name? Margaret wants to know, what is the brand name of the pink yarn? I'm so sorry, I forgot to mention that, Margaret. This is made with yarn. It's actually from South Africa. It's called Eco Fusion by Nurturing Fibers. There's a link in the video description below. I actually order mine online from a company called Good Loops Yarns, and that's where this came from. But I've worked with Good Loops Yarns people before, and they're people who run that organization are very good friends of mine, and I think the world of them. So it's a personal thing, but anyway, that's where this is from, and the yarn is made in South Africa. It's all very responsibly sourced, and the manufacturing of it actually helps a lot of women in need. It has provided jobs for a lot of women who are coming out of very difficult circumstances. So, it's kind of a thing near and dear to my heart too. I want to support that wherever possible. I mean, I'm all into Buy American and all things like that, but I don't have any problem supporting other people in other parts of the world who, are doing a good work like this, like they are with Nurturing Fibers. So, yeah, I hope that helps. And oh, thank you, Savvy Rock Chick. You put the answer in the chat for me. Jacqueline says mine was Woolworths, Newberry. Okay, and it's in Newberry and May Company when they were around. Huh? Yeah, Woolworths. I remember going into Woolworths. Jacqueline, do you remember? Do y'all ever remember a store named Zayre? Zayre. There was a big Zayre store off of 49th Street in Hialeah that I used to go to, and that's the store where I first discovered they called fisherman crochet patterns. I'd never seen anything like it, and then I saw this pattern on one of those revolving racks with the leaflets. And I've told you this before. The patterns were by Annie O, and there were just two of them, I think, and I bought them both or one at different times. I was just a kid with pennies in my pocket, but and those are the leaflets that so influenced my crochet and helped me get out of the rut of the same old. And anyway, that store doesn't exist anymore either. But yeah. And Charlene, oh, this is funny. Charlene Lucas says, my grandkids always say, Grandma, why do you always squeeze the yarn and rub it on your cheek? Does anybody else do that? Oh, yeah. That's how you find out if the yarn is good. um, all right. So, oh, Wanda is piping in about the yarn. She says yeah, by the way, this yarn is also, as Wanda says, thank you, Wanda, the yarn is hand dyed and caked by hand. Yes, this is really, and if you see just subtle differences when you crochet with this, you can see, the effect of it being hand dyed. Whoops, there it goes. I just really love this yarn. I just have to be careful. It can get expensive in a hurry for us. Oh, Jan says, oh, hi, Betty. Betty says, first time and I'm late. Well, come on in, Betty. Join the club here. She says, I was just asking about Zayre. Great minds kind of do think alike, don't they, Jan? Yeah. Yeah, that was a really cool store. And I remember that was the store that I remember my mom and dad first ever, I think, using a MasterCard, the a charge card. I remember them using it when they had the big Kashunk thing. And I remember whenever they would use a card, that it would just take forever to make the purchase. Boy, I'm not sure where that memory came from. And I also remember walking through that store. Okay, just memory lane, guys. Remember walking through that store and getting my usual cheap pair of sneakers. And I remember they were like $5 sneakers, no joke. And they didn't have a name. They just said All Star on them. And of course now the Chuck Taylor, the traditional looking shoe that costs $50 and $60 now. I used to wear them as a kid, not because they were cool, but because that's what mom could afford to buy. And they had those at Zayre. And you could, I'd be wearing them out in a month anyway, because my feet were always growing. But it's funny, I can just even draw a picture if I could of that rack with those shoes sitting there inside the Zayre store. And it was just a little further down was where I would buy my yarn in that store. Crazy how we can't remember what we did yesterday, but we can remember things like that from like a long time ago. And Brad's mom says, I love Woolworths and Zayre. I still have my pot holder loom from Woolworths and the worn out box. Wow. I started crafting when the lady next door taught me how to make pot holders. I think I learned to do those too, where you just go in and out, but then you have to do the chain. That was the hardest thing, is getting those loops off getting the loops off that loom without some of them slipping in and getting away from you. That was tricky. I remember my mom had to do that for a while. Or you'd have to like pull the ends of the corners, just kind of leave them on even after you chained them in, so that the thing wouldn't go poof and disappear and all the little loops kind of get lost. Oh yes, you're bringing back memories. And Ann Butler says, yeah, they had a Zayre when she was growing up. All right. And Wanda says, I enjoyed going in Zayre's, lived close enough I could walk to it. Wow. Okay, so Master Charge before MasterCard. Yeah, that's right, Julie. And Visa was Bank Americard. I said we had a Zayre, and TG and Y. Wow, before I bought my first yarn. That is so cool. Yeah, Jan, yeah, aging myself. I'm not afraid of getting old. I'm not worried about that. Just the hurting part. If we could just get there without it hurting, I would be really a lot happier. But yeah, yeah, it's wisdom, my friend, right? She says she used to buy embroidery floss, 5 cents a scan. You know, I think I have some of those still in my mom's things. She used to embroidery a lot of stuff. That was her thing. She never really crocheted. See, I remember. Okay, is it as it Adon's World? If I'm saying that right, hopefully. It says I remember being followed into Woolworth as if I did not have the money to buy what I wanted. Very seldom went there after that. Oh, that's a shame. Ugh, that's too bad. I'm sorry that happened to you. Um, yeah, that's really too bad. Um, let's see. Margaret Taylor says she says I lived behind the old Zare. It was an Ames. Yeah, on Veers Mill Road. I've been to that one, Margaret. I think I remember it was still a Zare when we moved to Maryland, which was over 30 years ago. We used to live in Rockville and go down Montrose Road to that particular store. Yeah, I've been there. And I think they changed it into something else now. It's like a big uh it's like a big thrift store now. Last time I went in there, I could hardly breathe, so I don't go in there anymore. I think it's the same place, but so if you live behind there, we're not too far away from each other when I'm home in Maryland because I'm just up the road um, in Gaithersburg. That's cool. Um, Jan says I'm older. You're older, Jan. Okay. Says if you're not getting older, you're dead. That's true. Says which isn't scary if you know where you're going. Amen to that. That's right. Um, that's why I always say this side of heaven, because I know the other side of heaven, you know the yarn's going to be glorious. The hooks are going to be perfect, and we're never going to tire of anything. And we're going to be without sin. Oh, that's going to be so wonderful. It's just getting there that can be a little scary sometimes. Um, let's see. Brat's mom says, I don't care if I'm old. I worked hard to get this old. It means I'm a tough old bird. Amen. Although I'm sure you're not um, an old bird, but yeah, I agree. It's a blessing. It's just like my mother-in-law. She's 91, and she's pretty amazing. And yeah, and just hearing some of the stories from her are just incredible, and just she's just got lots of wisdom, and I'm benefiting from that. And just knowing that you can grow old gracefully. And well, anyway, I did want to read a little something to you all. This is just this is out of my new book. I actually showed this to you. I've read a few more chapters in it. I'm really enjoying it. It's by Dane Ortland, Gentle and Lowly, and the subtitle is The Heart of Christ for Sinners and Sufferers, which that'd be me, and I'm sure most of you would agree. Maybe that would include you as well. And this is just a straight up verse that I just thought would encourage you all during this time as we, you know, check off another week of this pandemic and looking forward to Hurricane, whatever the name is. I think I've forgotten that already. But anyway, we always have lots of things to trust God for, but just wanted to read this. This is from Hebrews 4, verses 14 through 16. Many of you are probably familiar with this. I hope they encourage you as much as it encourages me. Since then, we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God. Let us hold fast our confessions. And this is the part that I'd like to emphasize. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin. Let us then with confidence draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need. Well, so great to be with you guys. I hope that blessed you as much as it blesses me to be able to read that. See you next week, I hope, and I'll let you know how the storm went. And looking so much forward to being with you again next Friday. God bless. Bye-bye.